This is the Dallas Morning News.
Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.
North Texas food fans, it's time for another episode of Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News. Every week, our food staff loves to dig into the local restaurant scene, talk about food and drink trends, and those things that make North Texas, North Texas. This is Anna Butler. I'm the News's food and events editor and your podcast host. This week, we're talking about a project from a member of our food team that's almost been a year in the making, along with some hot takes on a new list of top tacos in North Texas. So stick around. You won't want to miss this.
Central Market is really into food. Like when we say cheese, it's in 12 languages into food. Butchers, bakers, and sushi roll makers into food. We're talking so obsessive about quality you can shop blindfolded into food. Central Market is really into food. If you are too, then let us turn your shopping list into a treasure map. Get inspired, get adventurous, or just get a chef-made dinner when you've got more taste buds than time. No place makes every meal more amazing like Central Market. Really into food. Shop now at centralmarket.com.
And we're back. For the latest food and restaurant news, visit dallasnews.com/food. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have any food questions, a need for restaurant ideas, and more, reach out to us by visiting dallasnews.com/ask-eat-drink. Today, I'm joined by our food writers, Claire Baller, Sarah Blaskovich, and Imelda Garcia. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, Anna.
Last week, Imelda launched the first story in a series she's been working on for the better part of a year. Essentially, this series called DFW Sabores is exploring where to find authentic Mexican food in North Texas. The way she's organized it, we're essentially going to be taken on a journey region by region as she highlights a handful of dishes from each region. So I've got to know, because I was not here for this ideation, how did you even come up with this, Imelda?
Yes, DFW Sabores was born at the beginning of 2024, and it was named by our former editor, Erin Buki. So this idea came from the intention to showcase all the great food that Mexicans have, and that sometimes it's hard to tell that is something is Tex-Mex or Mexican food, you know? So some time ago, I was talking with Francisco de la Torre, who is the Mexican consul in Dallas, and we were talking about this, about all the stories behind our food and our culture, and that's when this project was born. So with DFW Sabores, we want to show or even better map some places that offer authentic Mexican food here in Dallas Fort Worth. I know this is ambitious, but okay, let's try to do it. And you know, there's not only one kind of Mexican food for the whole country, but rather each region has their own dishes, and they are very different from one another. So what we did was to divide the country in 9 regions that we think have some of the key dishes of the country. So these regions are Monterrey, Baja, Mexico City, Western, which includes the states of Michoacán and Jalisco, Northern, which includes Sonora, Chihuahua, Coahuila, Tamaulipas, and Durango, Oaxaca, that is worth a whole section by itself, as you know, Pacific, that includes Sinaloa and Colima, Central Mexico, which will include Puebla, Aguascalientes, Tlaxcala, the state of Mexico, Hidalgo, and Guanajuato. And finally, Yucatan, that also is worth a whole section. So in this DFW Sabores, my colleague Juan Figueroa is in charge on video and photo. And together we are going to dive into these most representative dishes of this region, and we'll talk about their origin, and most importantly, we'll talk about the people that cook those dishes here in North Texas, because you know that's the region of the DFW Sabores. We want to tell the stories behind those dishes, and of course, also we want to know where to find them here in DFW.
Imelda, this is so cool.
Yeah, we are. It's ambitious, you know, but we are going to try to make our best.
I enjoyed your casual mention of just being like, when I was meeting with the consul. How often do you do that? When does that happen? When does it come up?
He's very friendly, so you will know him sometime. Yeah, but we can invite him and talk about this because he's like he's very involved in all the culture and restaurants, and he loves food. So that's something that we have in common.
Yeah. So your first story for this was about Cabrito. How did you pick Monterrey, though, as a place to start? And I apologize for my accent throughout all of this.
No, it's okay. Because we have a lot of people from Monterrey here in DFW. There are a lot of places that sell that kind of food. So we thought that it was very important for representation to those people that are here in Monterrey.
Is there a reason why a lot of people from Monterey live in Dallas?
Yeah, because it's near here. I mean, Monterrey is the second largest city in Mexico, and it's only like 500 miles south of Dallas. So it's a good place for them to come to immigrate here. And some of them even come and work, and they go. I mean, not daily, but a lot of them has businesses here. So it's like there's a connection between the two regions. You know.
Hmm.
So this is going to be a long-term project, right? Weekly, we are going to be publishing like these stories, and uh, let me tell you something that is important. We are not going only to restaurants. We are looking for those dishes in catering businesses, in food trucks, in from street vendors, and even in families that have some of these special recipe for years. So if you know of somebody that has a great Mexican recipe, please send it to it. Send it our way.
I feel like we could also use the Ask, Eat, Drink DFW form for that. And so if you have any ideas for Imelda, you could go ahead and visit dallasnews.com/ask, eat, drink.
Yes, please. Let me answer your question about cabrito. So, cabrito is the signature dish of Monterrey. We interview this man, Lalo Montemayor, is the owner of a catering business called Tacos Lalo. And he shows how he prepared the cabrito, which is literally a baby goat. For being a cabrito, it has to be not older than 40 weeks, and it had to have been fed only with milk. So that gives the meat a very special flavor. I found Lalo Montemayor through Facebook, asking the community, hey, where can I find the best cabrito in DFW? And a lot of people point me at him. So I went there and he cooked the cabrito, and we witnessed the whole cooking process. So it was fascinating. And this week we are publishing about trompo tacos that are very popular also here. And I'm sure you will enjoy that story also.
I'm excited to be able to read about the Trompo ones. The photos that we have, though, from your experience with Cabrito was amazing, though. However, again, one of those things not for the faint of heart. There is a little, like, there's like a tiny goat
Yeah.
head on
Yeah, that's sad. But once you eat a taco, you forget sadness. Yeah.
Also, Imelda, Lalo cooks the cabrito in a very specific way. There's several ways to do this, and your story highlighted one way. Can you talk to us about how he does it?
Yeah, so cabrito can be prepared in several ways. The most traditional is when they put the animal in a rod and they prepare it charcoal style. And but Lalo prepares them a la taud, which translates as a coffin. So it's a little box where he put the animal, and then the charcoal is outside, so it cooks by the heat in the box. So that protects the animal from the dust, and all the elements and everything. But you can prepare also al horno, which is oven roasted, or even in a stew. So it has very very different preparations.
This box preparation that you're talking about, the coffin, if you will, reminds me of how sometimes we can roast a pig. Some barbecue guys do it that way. Um,
True.
and I think they also do that in some Hawaiian cuisines. But I think is it similar?
Yeah, yeah, that is similar. The thing about cabrito is you hate it or you love it
Mm.
because it's very strong and it has like this, I don't know, like this hard consistency. So a lot of people love it, and it's a really expensive dish. Some cabrito maybe you can pay 350 for it.
For a
So
whole animal?
for the whole animal. So it's mostly for parties, and the day of the mother, of the Father's Day, or things like that.
How is it typically eaten when it's cooked this way, the way that Lalo cooks it? Once it comes off the heat, then what happens next? What is the most traditional way to eat it?
Just eat it.
You just dig in.
Yeah, you cut it in pieces and put it in a tortilla and go ahead and put some salsa on it, and that's it.
For this event that you attended where it was being catered with the cabrito, it was part of a carne asada event?
Yeah,
Was that kind of the idea behind it? It was almost like a buffet where you could go through and make your own tacos?
yeah. He had a family reunion for that, so he invited family, and we even witnessed how they pray over the food, and we were part of that thing. That's what we were talking about. Food is very important for us, and people like Lalo's family, they are like very committed to all this tradition. Like giving thanks for food and enjoy food together, and that was great to witness.
And he even sources his own baby goat from Monterey
Yeah,
still.
true, true. He brings the animals from Monterey, so he's sure that the animal have never tried even grass or anything else that milk. So
Yeah, and then I think the scientific reason for that is that there are 4 stomachs, but while having milk only, you only activate 1 stomach. So it's not basically certain things that your body produces don't happen because you haven't tried these other types of food.
that start a chemical process that changes the flavor of the meat. So that's why a cabrito must be a baby goat.
While anyone is listening to Imelda talk about this wonderful story, I really want people to see Juan's pictures as well, because a lot of the stuff she's explaining are explained there. And these pictures, like, look at this one, you guys, the right off of the grill, there's just these like crispy on the outside pieces of meat that are on a styrofoam plate. Like you just pick them up and eat them right away. And that makes me want to have been there. Imelda, this looks like a really interesting interview.
Okay, I have to know, do you eat the machitos?
No, I didn't. I don't like them, but some people love them. So
Can you explain what they are?
yeah, they are a combination of the liver and the lungs and the stomach of the cabrito. So they put it together and they involve it in an intestine of the cabrito, and they roast it along with the cabrito. So they eat this separately because I mean they have to open the cabrito, but um they get advantage of everything of each piece of the animal. So
Let me say that I think the beautiful picture I was looking at were these organs wrapped in small intestine. I didn't know that in advance.
It's possible because I had the same impression when I looked at it the first time. I would say if you're looking at the cabrito, you think that it has been spatchcocked. One of my favorite words to say, but I'm pretty sure that looks like the way that they get the most even cooking. It's how all of this works. Again, we talked about butchering last week. It's not for
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, that's true. So people, if somebody has a great tip for us, please send it our way.
All right, a little bit more on the Mexican food train, but also a little bit of Tex-Mex too. Texas Monthly unveiled its top tacos list. And Claire, you actually wrote the story about this. You have a few more details. Can you tell us more about that?
Mm.
Yeah, Texas Monthly dropped this list this week, and this list comes to us from their taco editor, Jose Relat, and his job is what you would think it is based on the title. He writes about tacos and pretty much only tacos. But you can imagine that's a huge job in the state of Texas. There are many, many tacos in our state. So, what he did was travel all around the state, trying as many tacos as he could and finding the top 50. And so, in this list, North Texas actually has 8 tacos that
Mm.
appear on it.
That's wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's so many more than we usually have in a statewide list of anything.
Yeah. And 2 of them are in the top 10, which is
Awesome.
Wow.
perhaps even more impressive. So the 2 that made the top 10, and now keep in mind, we are talking about best tacos specifically, not necessarily best restaurants that make tacos or best taquerias. We're talking about specific tacos. So Jose calls out specific tacos from each place. And so the 2 tacos from North Texas that made the list of top 10 are from Mascaras Mexican Grill in Oak Cliff, which came in at number 9, and Revolver Taco Lounge in Deep Ellum, which came in at number 4. And the 2 tacos that were called out from each of those places are the pulpo al pastor taco at Revolver Taco Lounge, which is a marinated octopus that's cooked on a vertical rotisserie. This is something that Chef Regino Rojas has become rather well known for. I think because he was featured in a Netflix documentary in part for that taco. And then at Mascaras, the taco that Jose called out was the tacos ahogados. Imelda, I think you talked to us about this a little bit on this podcast at one point about this taco from Mascaras. Can you tell us what you love about it?
Yes, I love both tacos. Yeah, the al pastor octopus tacos, they are really, really good. And they are very popular in the Pacific side of Mexico, like Sinaloa or all of that places. They are really good. I mean, but Revolver tacos, their tortillas are handmade, so they are really good tacos. In Mascaras Mexican Grill, they are amazing. I mean, all the tacos that they have are amazing, but the tacos ahogados over there, they are like really, really traditional from Guadalajara, and they are really good. They are these crunchy tacos bathed in a very liquid salsa with some onions on it. So they are amazing. You have to try them. Actually, we have a photo right here. These are the tacos abuelos. They
Yeah,
are
they are beautiful looking tacos.
yeah, they are beautiful and they are delicious.
It looks a little bit like an enchilada.
Yeah, but they are crispy. That's the difference.
All of us listening who want to eat these tacos should go do that now because I think there's a fair chance that one of these two restaurants could be talked about by Michelin next month. And then I also think that the rest of the ones on the list that Claire's about to talk about, could be contenders too. We've said that Michelin wants to look at our barbecue and our Tex-Mex and our tacos. Well, here's a pretty good list of a bunch of great tacos in Texas. Michelin would have already made its list by the time Texas Monthly's list came out, but I think, those of us paying attention, go eat these just in case they become more famous.
This list is really robust. I mean, we're a little biased, right? I mean, we are here in North Texas. We're always happy to see North Texas restaurants make a list like this. But I think that we'd probably all agree that the places on here deserve to be on here. So the other spots, let's go through the other ones that are in Dallas. So we talked about those two that made the top 10 that are in Dallas. There's also El Come Taco in Old East Dallas, Molino Olio in the Design District, which is not a restaurant per se. You can order ahead and pick up from them. So just a note to people listening, don't type that into Google Maps and expect to show up and sit down and eat. And then there's also Resident Taqueria in Lake Highlands. So the majority of this list of the 8 in North Texas are in Dallas, but the other 3 are not, and they're spread out, and it's pretty cool to see. There's Don Artemio in Fort Worth. There is Vaqueros Texas Barbecue in Grapevine and Zavala's Barbecue in Grand Prairie. So it's pretty good representation.
Totally.
We have Fort Worth in there and 2 other cities in North Texas, which is really cool to see.
I haven't been to Vaqueros yet, I'm sad to say, and I'm interested in that one.
I was actually there the other day. I was nearby for something else, and was like, "Oh, this is great. I'm gonna go." And then it was not the day they were open, which is such a sad thing. So I'm gonna make sure I get over there soon.
Same.
I think this is great because it has a lot of little places, and for representation, it's amazing that we have all of these cities in there. And I have homework. I haven't been in some of these places, so I'm gonna be there. So
I'm going to be honest. My mind is blown because when you were describing how the octopus was cooked and you were talking about the vertical rotisserie, in my life, I've always thought that Revolver was named after the thing that Colonel Mustard had in the lounge from the Clue game.
Oh, me too.
Not because the meat was revolving, and it has to be that, right? Revolvers because it's revolving.
now we don't know.
Oh, I do not know this.
You know what?
I go straight
feel
to
like
guns.
I feel like we should know the answer to this, and I don't.
Mhm.
So there's more homework.
Yes.
My brain broke when you said that. I was like, wait, what?
That's funny.
We're very all Michelin right now when we're thinking about reservations and things like that to make. That being said, there are still new restaurants opening and new things that you should also maybe make a reservation for. Sarah, you just wrote about something new that's bound to be one of the hottest restaurant openings of the year. Can you tell us a little bit more about this spot along the Katy Trail?
Yes, of course. Le Passage is the name of this French Asian restaurant. It is in the new building, the Terminal at Katy Trail, which is on Fitzhugh overlooking the Katy Trail. So this restaurant is actually on the trail in the same way that Katy Trail Ice House is farther down, but also on the trail. Its next door coffee shop and cafe, the Rose Cafe, is also on the trail. So Le Passage and the Rose Cafe are in this same new building. If you haven't been in the building, that's because there are a little over a dozen condos upstairs. I believe they start at $3 million. So they are larger luxury residences, but there's not a lot of them. So the reason most of us might go to the terminal is for one of these 2 restaurants. Le Passage is, you guys, it's really special. And I think it will go down as one of these fine dining, exciting, celebratory restaurants. And it comes from the man who owns Le Bilbo Quai, Georgie, Knox Bistro. And he's also going to open Frenchie, which is going to be a casual-ish French restaurant in Preston Center. And Le Passage takes all that French background, and the owner himself, Stéphane Corseau, is from Paris. And his culinary director is Bruno Davallon, who we've known in Dallas for a long time. He is also a French-born chef who has lived in the U.S. for a long time. So between Stefan and Bruno, they've got French food handled in this town, in my opinion. Le Passage, though, is an Asian restaurant that's sort of informed by French culinary techniques, as so many different cuisines are. And so this is much more an Asian restaurant than a French restaurant. And so he's hired a chef from Mr. Chow in Las Vegas, who was born in Hong Kong, to come over to Dallas and to do this menu. And you can eat big here. You can eat, you can share. It's a place that doesn't draw boundaries around which parts of Asia it chooses to be in. And I think that's worth pointing out because, we have plenty of restaurants that are Vietnamese or that are Chinese restaurants or are Thai restaurants. And this has pieces of all of those without, in my opinion, trying to be too much everything for everyone. So some examples of what you might eat here: eggplant miso dumplings, Vietnamese spring rolls, Peking duck for 4 people. And, it's a big spread and they need to know in advance because making Peking duck is not something that a lot of restaurants in Dallas do, because it's hard to do well. And also because if you sell out of ducks, there are no more ducks. So they want to know in advance who wants these. But they have a really beautiful shrimp dish called green prawns chows that's named after Mr. Chow's, and it's a famous dish at Mr. Chow's. 5-spice duck breast, steamed halibut with a ginger beurre blanc sauce and snap peas and Thai herbs, and all kinds of other stuff. So this is a special occasion restaurant. It is mostly dinner, except for on the weekends when they'll do a brunch service. And they also hired George Kaiho, who worked at Jettison and owns Ka Tip in the Dallas Farmers Market, and he is running their bar program. There's just a lot of star power at this restaurant. Beyond the food, it is so pretty. So the whole place is designed to feel like you're inside a train car. And Stefan, the owner, took inspiration from the Orient Express, which was a luxury train car that went all over the place. And I think that idea is shown on this menu, that you can kind of go anywhere and eat all kinds of different food in a room that feels so incredibly fabulous. And so it's a monochromatic room in shades of plum. So purpley pinky everywhere. And everything about it just feels really upscale and it feels somehow current. It feels like a restaurant that Dallas deserves. And it feels like the type of food, that if you can sort of save up and go to this place, that is just exciting and cool and different than a lot of the other restaurants we have.
And you had a dish there that will stay in your memory forever.
Yes, I had a dessert that I kind of lost my mind over, and it was really funny. I was having lunch with someone, and I was building this dessert for her, and she was like, "I think you're in love." Like she was like, "You're blushing," and you're like, I was just excited about this dish. So it is it's an ice cream sitting in mushroom caramel, and I didn't know what mushroom caramel was. Maybe someone somewhere has made it before, but I'd never seen it or had it. And what the chef does is she cooks down mushrooms into a broth, then takes that broth and mixes it with Pernod and lemon juice and sugar and some salt and makes it into what seems like a caramel. She thickens it in that way, but doesn't add butter or cream. And what it looks like is like a thick jus, maybe. It's dark brown in color. It is not super thick like a caramel. It's a little bit brothier than that. And then a yogurt ice cream sits on top of it. And then the yogurt is wearing a little white hat, which is basically an almond sablé for texture. It's a little cookie on top for crunch. And then there are pieces of fennel. So green little pieces of fennel stuck all the way around this little white top hat. And you take your spoon and you get some fennel and you crush through that cookie and into the yogurt ice cream and at the bottom into the mushroom caramel. And that caramel is so unique. This is not a very sweet dish because the yogurt is tart. And it just, everything about it works. And there's, it's umami. There's a little bit of anise from the caramel and from the fennel. It's a little bit funky in a way that desserts are usually not. And the chef's point was, at the end of a big meal like you might have at Le Passage, you probably don't want something super sweet anyway. And that also doesn't fit in with a lot of the Asian cuisine that you will be eating. There are other dishes that you could get for dessert. And it's funny because I loved this dessert so much that I said to chef, could this be your favorite? And she was like, well, not really. So we all need to try the other desserts, and perhaps there's something even more exceptional in one of them. But I think food is like music, where everything has been done. And so, in order to make your own spin, your place has to be a little bit different while still working from a lot of the same playbook. And a menu has everything to do with that. Design has everything to do with that. And this dish is, in my opinion, one of one.
Wow, I want to fall in love also.
Thank you.
And then there's also Rose Cafe, which is like the more casual side of this, right? So it sounds like Le Passage is a place that like people should be expecting to make a reservation
Yes.
well ahead of time, put on some nice clothes,
That's it.
have a night out. It's a whole thing. But Rose Cafe, from what I understand, is supposed to be a place where you could come off the Katy Trail in your workout clothes
You
and
sh-
not be out of place.
Yes, you absolutely can. And I think that's sort of shocking next door to this place that is once one of the most exciting restaurants of the year. And yes, it is still charming and chic. The design is lovely in there. It has like these sage colored tiles on the wall and kind of a rose pink accent. And so it's very cute in there. But you can have lunch, you can have brunch, you can have cocktails. Of course, they'll have great espresso and good desserts. So the Rose Cafe, yes, much more casual, still sophisticated in the food it will serve, but you don't have to think in advance about going there, and you still can.
Would you, based on what you saw and experienced there, would you yourself feel comfortable going in sneakers and forehead sweat?
May I say, uh, if I were working out, quote unquote, on the Katy Trail, which means wearing the matching top and bottom workout outfit, yes. If I had run 5 miles, let me go on record saying I'm not much of a runner of 5 miles anyway. But if I had run 5 miles, I would probably freshen a little bit.
Okay, good to know.
I would like to say that I think what's happening on Fitzhugh is so fun to watch because when I moved to town about 10 years ago, none of this was there. It was a very, very different thing. And now we've had this, I guess, facelift of sorts where you have Beverly's right there in Clifton Club. You can also go to Regine's. I just mean you could do like a front to end big night out and
Yes.
go there and have the best time with great music and things like that to cap off your night. But you could also have a great dinner. And it sounds like this is one of those places that you could kind of add to that roster.
Yes, and credit goes to Greg Katz at Beverly's for being the first of saying we can have a serious restaurant on this street. And a couple of people clutched their pearls about driving to Fitzhugh and parking in what's a very small parking lot. More specifically, you just let the valet guys park your car because they park like a bazillion cars in that little bitty parking lot and it somehow works. But yes, he thought, I think there's really something here. And then you watched other Dallas restaurateurs like Alberto Lombardi, who owns Maison Chinoise and Regine's, and Stefan Corso, who has Le Passage and Rose Cafe, and others kind of pop up around it. But if you've ever been at Beverly's and you drive west on Fitzhugh, you are at Turtle Creek and in the Park Cities immediately. And so Greg made the point to me years ago, like you are so close to neighborhoods where we think people want to spend money. If only they'll just come on the other side. And it worked.
And I'd like to give a shout out to that quick car right there. Take care of me.
All right, before we finish, Imelda, I have some really good news for you. And I think everyone else is going to send us hate mail. Okay.
Wow.
This is just a personal thing that I think you'll get a kick out of. My family's Christmas lights are up now.
I love it.
All right, now they're not on.
Okay, wait.
Oh.
Your family, as in you,
It makes it sound like it made
like
it
your
sound
parents or your mom.
Oh no.
Yeah,
The Christmas lights on my home
yeah.
are
Okay.
on my home right now. And there was the opportunity to get on the schedule early. And we have a 2-story house. We used to put up our own Christmas lights. And every time I was like, my husband's going to die, but it's going to be fine. And now the 2-story house, we don't have a ladder that reaches all the way up. And so it was like, we're opening it up to put up Christmas lights. And I said, I like early Christmas lights. We're November Christmas lights people.
Of course.
And the weekend they could come out was late October. And I said, absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
So they're not on, but they are up, and I am ready.
Wait, the question is, when do they go on?
Well, thank you, Imelda. I await everyone else
You
disagreeing
make me
with us.
proud today. You make me
Thank
proud.
you. Thank you. You're the only person I feel like who would
Yeah.
actually like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm admitting it to a whole bunch of more listeners who will not like this. And I know that. But let me tell you a story about 2020. On November 1st-ish, 2020, our family was having a tough time, as were many families. We were stuck in our house. We had a baby and a 4-year-old, and Christmas happened early. It happened maybe on November 1st. We just needed it. We needed something different. I needed a job in the house that wasn't work or kids. And so I put up the gosh darn Christmas stuff in the house earlier than I should have. And we loved it so much. And so now we are firmly not after Thanksgiving people. We are before Thanksgiving people. Now, sometimes it happens mid-November, but I think, very controversially, that November 1st is game on.
Is this still when you lived down the block from me?
It was, yes.
I think that you actually triggered the entire neighborhood putting up their Christmas stuff way
Yes.
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Brava.
yeah, I honor and accept that.
I'm not kidding. I felt peer pressure to do things to my house because all of a sudden there was this trickle effect. We both lived in the same little pocket of Lakewood and East Dallas at the time. And we
Yes.
didn't know each other, but we knew people who knew the other
Yep.
type of thing. And I would like to blame. It's not blame because I like Christmas too. I bought a bunch of Christmas ornaments over the weekend.
It's not blame. It's brave.
I think actually we're the four of us. I mean, I am pro Christmas November 1st. That's what I do pretty
You
much.
are?
Pretty much.
This is a safe space.
I'm shocked.
Because
Welcome. Sarah, I
I
really thought
think
you didn't.
that Thanksgiving is the pregame for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the runway between, we were like way off track. The runway between Thanksgiving and Christmas is not long enough
It's
for
not.
that to be the
No.
only time to get ready for Christmas.
Correct.
100%. And
Yeah.
in addition to there not being that many days, those days are extra busy because you're
Yes.
shopping and you're entertaining and, there's just like a lot.
Also, like in our world, work-wise, it's a wild time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're also like, I mean, there's so many restaurant closures and we're prepping stuff for over the holidays when we're out. And it's just like, it's not enough time. So
That's right. Well, one reason why we had our Christmas lights put up so early is because one block off of where I live, there's a huge Halloween party, huge, on Halloween night. And it gets really dark really fast.
Mm.
And anybody with little bitty kids, while it's fun, it turns like a little like don't let go of my hand just because there's so many people. It's not like it feels unsafe. It's just dark and there's like hundreds, if not thousands of people in this like open block party. And so some of those homes turn on their white Christmas lights on Halloween night and you can see in their front yard.
Mhm.
So everybody's like standing in yards. Now, my house is one block off and is not part of this. So I can't really say that I should turn them on Halloween. So it's a day later.
You can wait until November 1st.
Yes.
But just a few days ago, I was telling my wife, hey, when are we putting our lights? And she was like, wait for Halloween. And I was like, but we can start to look for them,
Well, I can't wait for you to tell her tonight.
Yes.
That you won't be the first one.
I will tell her, and she's going to be like, oh, okay. So you are a bad influence right over there also.
Not sorry.
I'm proud of you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but because who doesn't like the joy of the lights and everything?
My children were so
Yeah,
delighted.
for sure.
And
I'm sure.
the older one was like, this seems a little early, Mom, but I like it. And I was like,
Yeah.
both. It's both.
Of course. I love it.
I mean, not only inspired, but enabled. That's all of
Yes.
us.
No, I am so brave.
And on that note, that's all the time we have for Eat, Drink, DFW this week. Again, you can reach out to us to share your food thoughts and questions by visiting dallasnews.com/askeatdrink and filling out the form on our website. We appreciate you tuning in and we'd love to hear from you. The show is produced by Billy Kidd. To catch up on every episode of this show and hear more from our newsroom, just follow the Dallas Morning News wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please rate the show and leave a review. Find links to all of our work at dallasnews.com/listen. You'll also find a special membership offer there just for listeners. For the news, I'm Anna Butler. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all again next week.
Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.